Today's edition of Steelers Talk is sponsored by RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat for up to 95% off generic Viagra or Cialis, plus get a free gift. All right, now let's jump into today's news and rumors. Of course, the biggest story in Steelers Nation today, let's call it, is that Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson is going to miss the rest of the 2023 NFL season with a shoulder injury. He suffered it last week in their win over the Baltimore Ravens, and now he's going to require surgery here, which really puts a damper on the Cleveland Browns' playoff hopes here, and definitely puts a dash in any hope of them winning the AFC North here in 2023. Deshaun wasn't playing all that well before his injury. If I'm being completely honest with you, he's probably a bottom 10 starting quarterback. But now you go from Deshaun Watson to now fifth-round rookie Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of University of California, Los Angeles, will be the starting quarterback for them moving forward, starting with this week's game versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, DTR was really good in the preseason. He was one of the MVPs of the preseason, was really lighting it up. But then when he got a chance to start against the Baltimore Ravens, and granted, this is a very good defense here with the Baltimore Ravens, DTR didn't look all that great. 19 to 36 for 121 yards, no touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Now he gets the chance to start here for the Cleveland Browns, presumably for the rest of the season, or at least until the Browns can conjure up something and bring in someone on the free agent market. Now, even though I do think going from Deshaun Watson to DTR is a step down for the Browns, and it does give the Steelers a higher chance of winning this football game here in Week 11, I really don't think the dynamic of the game itself is going to change. I still think it's going to be relatively close. I still think it's going to be massively physical. I still think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter and which team is able to make the big play. And I think the big thing in this football game is going to be which team doesn't make the big mistake. The Steelers have done a really good job of staying away from mistakes and causing mistakes from other teams. So I still think the Steelers are going to win, but I definitely don't think you can chalk this one up as an automatic W at this point in the year. Cleveland still has a really good defense. They've got a decent run game. Of course, they got a pretty darn good offensive line. They still have Amari Cooper, and DTR did look pretty good in the preseason. So it's definitely not a foregone conclusion that the Steelers are going to win this football game. Not in the slightest, in my opinion. So I think that moving forward, you got to look forward to the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this football game in a matter of the same way here. You got to win the football game by not turning the football over. You got to win the football game by getting after the quarterback. The Browns aren't going to have their starting offensive tackle duo, right? So I'm looking forward to what the Steelers are going to be able to do this weekend, but don't just simply chalk it up as a W. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, what is your confidence level in a Steelers win this weekend on a scale of 1 to 10? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever YouTube throws you an ad break here, it's going to happen here in just a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by giving me your confidence level in a win this week. For me personally, I'm going to say a 7, all right? So I'm pretty darn confident that the Steelers are going to end up getting the victory, but you just never know in these AFC North matchups, especially on the road. We really don't know what we're going to get out of Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Are we going to get the preseason version of him, or are we going to get the Week 4 version of him? We're going to see. I still feel pretty confident in the Steelers win. I might even bump this up to an 8 here, but don't just simply say the Steelers are going to 100% walk away with a victory here. Now, before we get into the rest of our content today, I want to tell you about our sponsor at RexMD. And fellas, do you sometimes lack confidence in the bedroom? Do you wish you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone in that. And that's why we're excited to tell you about our sponsor today, RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. At RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get your medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of a traditional pharmacy. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made right here in the United States of America, so you can trust its quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions or concerns you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of their best deal that they've ever offered and get up to 95% off RexMD plus a free gift with our exclusive link, rexmd.com/chat. Go to rexmd.com Cialis.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's RexMD.com/chat for up to 95% off plus a free gift. Now let's shift to Mike Tomlin, where in his weekly press conference here on Tuesday, he talked about Kenny Pickett and how he, quote-unquote, certainly needs to see more from the second-year quarterback moving forward. This is what Coach T had to say about his starting quarterback. Certainly, man, we're going to need more, particularly as this road narrows. But guys like Kenny and myself, man, we're measured by wins and losses. He and I talk about that often and openly. We know what our jobs are. Our jobs are to win. That's where we are. That's where our focus is. I love the fact that Pickett embraces that. Down in and down out. Are there some things to work on? Certainly. But it's not like we're going to start on Wednesday working on those things. We've been working on those things, and we will continue until we get the desired result. And listen, man, I really do appreciate this approach from Coach T, where he's not going to lie to you and tell you that Kenny Pickett has been lighting it up or has been absolutely fantastic and has completely had that breakout season that we expected from him. But he's also talking about him in a manner that still shows that he believes in the young man and still thinks that he can develop as his career unfolds. You look at his advanced stats so far this year, as a total, it's just not that great, guys. We just have to acknowledge the reality, right? The catchable ball percentage, non-target percentage, just, it's not great. Bottom 10 in the league in both categories. There's even some backups right now that are more accurate than Kenny Pickett, unfortunately. And then the rating is 29th. His expected points added, negative 39.72. That's 32nd. And then the points above replacement is even lower at negative 7.5. However, in the fourth quarter, this kid magically turns into a top 10 quarterback. The accuracy goes up to a top 10 level. Top 5 if you're looking at the top on-target percentage. He goes top 5 in quarterback rating. He's top 5 in expected points added, and then he's in the top 10 in points above replacement. So when the lights are brightest, Kenny Pickett absolutely shows up, and that shows in the game-winning drive stat throughout his career. This young man has started just 21 games in the NFL. In 7 of those games, a third of those football games, he has led a game-winning drive. That is among the best when it comes to quarterbacks entering the NFL. I mean, just not many quarterbacks have that kind of moxie, that kind of clutch factor. And that's exactly what Kenny Pickett has. And because of that, because he has that moxie, because he has that ability to make plays or to play his best when his best is required, that definitely shows me that he's, you should be giving him a shot here. You should be giving him the chance to prove himself, especially throughout the rest of this season. Because, this kind of moxie, this kind of clutch factor, you just don't see it in quarterbacks every day, man. And, the last person that I can think of that was this bad in the first 3 quarters and then turned it on in the fourth quarter was freaking Tim Tebow. There's really nobody else that I can think of to compare to Kenny Pickett at this point. And, when I look at a guy like Kenny Pickett, I think that he has way more potential than Tim Tebow ever had to develop in those first 3 quarters. So if Kenny can just play in the first 3 quarters like he can in the fourth quarter, this kid's going to be a franchise quarterback in this league, and I still think he has the potential to potentially get there, especially if he gets the right offensive play caller. All right, now before I go over the rest of today's Steelers news and rumors, if you want more from me on Twitter, you can check me out at Jack_Sperry. I'm going to be putting up my Kenny Pickett film analysis from last week's game on my Twitter. So if you want to check that out, go ahead, give me a follow right now at Jack_Sperry. Now, before I go here, I do have some final news items that I want to discuss with you guys here on this beautiful Wednesday. And I want to start with Minkah Fitzpatrick and his injury status, because last week we thought that he could potentially make it back against the Packers. Now this week, Mike Tomlin sounds like it's probably not going to happen even this week for Minkah Fitzpatrick, as he's still battling that hamstring injury. And usually when Mike Tomlin says a guy is battling an injury, they end up not playing. So I know that you got Dorian Thompson-Robinson as the quarterback, right? The Browns probably aren't going to be moving the football, at least that efficiently, so I guess it's okay for Minkah to miss another week. It's still a little bit concerning here because we need him back ASAP here in Pittsburgh. And then another injury here, this one more good news. It's going to be Pat Freiermuth, tight end here, who's missed the last couple of weeks with a hamstring injury himself. Looks like he's going to be able to play versus the Cleveland Browns here in Week 11, which is absolutely fantastic. I've been underwhelmed by Connor Hayward as the wide tight end here in Pittsburgh in his absence. So getting a true receiving threat in the middle of the field that Kenny Pickett trusts, I think will be absolutely huge for the Steelers offense moving forward. And then, there's another thing here where we've been talking about throughout the week after Cole Holcomb and Quan Alexander both are now down for the season. We're like, hey, we've been discussing which linebackers could they bring in. It looks like the Steelers are going to be sticking with what they have at inside linebacker. You got a Landon Roberts, you got Mark Robinson, Tariq Carpenter, and Michael Walker. They also added another linebacker today to the practice squad. Blanking on his name right now, but he's a rookie, comes from Memphis. He's going to be on the practice squad, so it's going to be interesting to see if he even gets elevated to play some snaps here. Michael Walker has been talking with coaches and the press saying that he's probably going to be playing quite a bit this weekend, and I'm very intrigued to see what Mark Robinson is going to be able to do in a true Tyler Murray. Thank you, Coop. Tyler Murray is the linebacker that just got added to the practice squad. I mean, I can't wait to see what Mark Robinson is going to be able to do as a starter. He's a thumper. Really want to see how he holds up in pass coverage. And now let's talk a little bit about Jaylen Warren. You guys know how much I love Jaylen Warren if you watch the show. He is a bulldog. He's very versatile. He can beat you in a lot of ways. And he was introduced last week at Acrisure Stadium as the starting running back. Now, on the official Steelers depth chart, it still says it's Najee Harris. But, I definitely think that Jaylen Warren is trending to become the new Steelers RB1 here, especially as the season continues, because every time this kid gets the opportunity to prove himself, he does, whether it's as a pass blocker, whether it's as a rusher, whether it's as somebody that's asked to get a 3rd-and-1 conversion. This guy can do pretty much everything that you want a running back to do, and he just does it at a higher level than what Najee is able to do right now. I like what Najee's been able to do the last couple of weeks. The run game as a whole has been really nice, but when it comes to the Thunder and Lightning pairing here, I'd rather go with the Lightning than the Thunder as my number one option, and I think Jaylen Warren has absolutely earned that RB1 designation. Now, fill in the blank for me down there in the comments section. Jaylen Warren is the blank best player on the Steelers offense right now, okay? Let me know. Is he the second best? Is he the third best, fourth best? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Fill in the blank for me down there in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here and help us beat the Browns here. So before we say goodbye here, do me a favor, click that subscribe button. We're currently in the middle of a sub battle with our friends here at the Browns Report, our sister channel here at Chat Sports. And this is what Browns Report host Matthew Peterson has to say about Steelers fans.
In 2020, and who destroyed that season for you? The Browns in Pittsburgh. And this year, you are the biggest fraudulent 6-3 team, and just like in 2020, the Browns are going to expose you yet again. Fuck the Steelers. Let's go Brownies. Steelers fans, you got
Matthew Peterson has absolutely no respect for the Pittsburgh Steelers, their fans, or the 6 championships that his Cleveland Browns currently do not have even one of, all right? So these Cleveland Browns fans, they love to talk crap. They like to say how much Steelers fans are so cocky and talk so much shit. I have not heard so much trash talk from a single person in my entire life. So help us beat this clown right now by clicking that subscribe button and help us beat the Browns this week. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure you click that subscribe button again to help us beat the Browns and for more Browns Week coverage throughout the week.